It was a spectacle fit for a royal disaster. Meghan Markle, the self-proclaimed champion of female empowerment and duchess-turned-podcaster, was eviscerated on national television by none other than Jon Stewart, a man known for his razor-sharp satire and no-nonsense approach to hypocrisy. In a rare moment of unfiltered candor, Stewart flatly called Markle a blatant liar, mocking her latest vanity project, Confessions of a Female Founder, as a delusional, self-serving train wreck. The audience gasped, laughed, and applauded, and just like that, the Duchess of Delusion found herself exposed on live television, her carefully curated narrative torn to shreds by one of America's most beloved truth-tellers. Stewart's takedown wasn't comedy. It was a public reckoning. His barbed critique wasn't just about one podcast episode. It was a full-frontal assault on the entire Markle brand. A hollow empire built on buzzwords, victimhood, and unrelenting narcissism. What Stewart effectively did was pull back the curtain on Meghan's charade. A PR-obsessed woman who cloaks herself in feminism while relentlessly exploiting her royal ties for personal gain. And crucially, he did it with facts, not fluff. No more vague sources or speculative gossip. This was raw, unvarnished accountability. Let's start with the podcast itself. Confessions of a Female Founder was pitched as a bold, honest dialogue with women entrepreneurs. In reality, it was a calculated platform for Markle to center herself, once again, as the misunderstood heroine of her own manufactured struggle. The supposed mission, amplifying female voices, was immediately overshadowed by Markle's obsession with framing herself as a trailblazer. Despite having achieved success not through merit or innovation, but via marriage into one of the most powerful families on earth, Stewart didn't mince words. "This isn't female empowerment," he said. "It's ego masquerading as activism." And he's right. Every episode was less about the featured guest and more about Meghan's endless grievances. The press, the palace, the patriarchy, all served with a heavy dose of self-congratulation. The irony? She weaponizes feminism while embodying everything it fights against: privilege, opportunism, and the exploitation of struggle for personal branding. What truly incensed Stewart, and what resonated with millions, was the sheer gall of Markle portraying herself as a victim of systemic oppression while living in a $14 million Montecito mansion. She speaks of barriers and discrimination, yet the only thing ever standing in her way seems to be her own inflated sense of self-importance. Her tales of adversity often crumble under scrutiny. For instance, in Confessions, she lamented how hard it was to be a woman of color in the public eye, a line delivered without a hint of irony, despite having signed multimillion-dollar deals with Spotify, Netflix, and Penguin Random House. Let's recall that Spotify pulled the plug on her previous podcast, Archetypes, because, in the words of one executive, Meghan and Harry were grifters. Despite receiving a reported $20 million from the streaming giant, Meghan produced just 12 episodes over 2 years. Even her vaunted feminism felt performative. Critics noted how the guests, many of them accomplished women, were reduced to props in Meghan's grand self-reinvention narrative. The message was clear: this wasn't about them. It was about her. Jon Stewart's genius lies in his ability to blend humor with surgical truth, and with Meghan Markle, he pulled no punches. On The Daily Show, Stewart called out the phony authenticity that saturates her podcast. "It's like listening to a TED Talk delivered by someone who's never had a real job," he quipped, before taking aim at her tone. "Every episode sounds like she's auditioning for an Oscar." Enough with the performative pain. But Stewart's most devastating line came when he addressed her alleged lies. "She's a blatant liar," he said, a rare and jarring statement, given Stewart's usual caution with direct accusations. This wasn't just an off-the-cuff insult. He was referencing specific inconsistencies in her narrative, the timeline of her supposed mistreatment, the shifting claims about royal racism, and even dubious anecdotes that unravel under minimal fact-checking. Stewart wasn't joking. He was holding a public figure to account for manipulating social justice language for clout and cash. This isn't the first time Meghan's credibility has been publicly questioned. During her infamous Oprah interview, several claims were quickly dismantled. She claimed that her marriage to Prince Harry was privately officiated 3 days before the public ceremony, a statement the Archbishop of Canterbury himself denied. She alleged that her son Archie was denied a royal title due to racism, ignoring the fact that royal protocol, not prejudice, dictated that decision. In Confessions, this pattern of selective storytelling continues. She references microaggressions in corporate and media circles but never specifies names, dates, or contexts because vague victimhood is more convenient than verifiable truth. Stewart highlighted the sleight of hand: when your whole brand is based on unverifiable anecdotes, it's not a brand. It's a scam. The media may coddle Meghan, but corporate America is catching on. After Archewell Audio's implosion, Meghan and Harry's business ventures began unraveling. Netflix has quietly shelved most of their development projects. Spotify publicly severed ties. A multi-year publishing deal has produced only one children's book and Harry's ghostwritten memoir, both flops in literary circles. Stewart's rant reflects what many executives now admit behind closed doors: the Markle name no longer translates into meaningful engagement, just tabloid drama. Her newest podcast was supposed to signal a rebirth, a pivot from failed ventures to something more impactful. Instead, it showcased the same flaws: an obsession with victimhood, a refusal to share the spotlight, and a thinly veiled disdain for any environment where she isn't the sole star. Stewart's analysis was brutal but accurate. You can't call it Confessions if you're never the one confessing. There was a time when Meghan Markle symbolized possibility, a biracial woman entering the British monarchy, a new kind of princess for a new age. But that promise was squandered. Instead of using her platform to build, she weaponized it to destroy, first the royal family, then her own credibility. She speaks often of authenticity, yet no one in her orbit has remained. Not family, not staff, not even Spotify.